People don't understand how much hours go into wedding cake. People forget that you've still got the baking to do with the cake. That can take you probably about 60 hours.
So Elaine has been a confectioner for 42 years.
And I do look at some people's pricing even now on wedding cakes and wonder where they get the prices from. In my heart, I couldn't charge that kind of price. At the end of the day, it's a sponge cake that's covered.
Yeah, and I'm not naming names because I just certainly would not do that.
No.
But it was a utter bloody shambles for £2,000. The cake didn't even fit in the place where it had to go. So one of the main components of a wedding when you're organising everything, of course, is the wedding cake. Mm-hmm. And I've had lots of stories about different wedding cakes, celebrity and non-celebrity, and especially with the lady who's joined me today on the sofa. And I'm going to welcome Elaine Hamey. But before I do that, I'm going to read her very impressive bio out, and I'm going to read from my notes so I do get this right. So Elaine has been a confectioner for 42 years. I know you'd never think that.
I know.
And also a college lecturer for 23 years while she was teaching the craft to students. She set up wedding and celebration studios for two really prominent Cheshire shops. And she also won National Confectioner of the Year at the Baking Industry Awards. That's impressive on itself. But then went on to win a further 3 times and was runner-up 7 times, which is amazing. Now, her own shop, which she's got now, is Elaine's Creative Cakes in Urmston. Mm-hmm. I've been there hundreds of times, whether she wanted me in or not. And that's that. So welcome, Elaine.
Thank you very much.
So excited you've been able to join me today.
It's lovely. It's nice to be here.
Because cakes are so such a big part of it, isn't it? And people don't really know. Well, I say what goes into a cake. That's for you to know, not them necessarily. But I'm going to ask you straight away. Out of all the wedding cakes that you've done over the years, I know this is a big ask, this question. Can you think of one that actually sticks out in your memory and why?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'd probably have to say 2 on that.
All right.
So the first one would be my wedding cake.
Oh.
Because it'll always stick on my mind.
Right. And how long ago was that?
Oh gosh, that's 23 years ago
Wow.
now. But I got married at Manchester University in the Whitworth Hall there.
Lovely.
And but my actual wedding cake was like 6 foot high. It was royalised.
Of course it was.
Beautiful. It had to have all the things.
Did you make it?
I did it all myself because everyone else was too frightened to do it. And but the other one was, the one that always sticks in my mind is I had to do one once that was 6 foot high, and it was a volcano.
And was that a wedding cake?
Yes, and
Stop.
they wanted it as a wedding cake. And they had to have lights in it. We had to try and have it erupting. And we're probably talking about sort of 20 odd years ago with that one then. Won't be doing another one. But
just on the volcano cake.
They just loved volcanoes.
So did it actually, was it a white cake with an eruption or was it a volcano-looking cake?
No, it was a full 6 foot high cake in the shape of a volcano.
Why did they love volcanoes?
They just had a passion for them. That was it. And they just, it was just...
And are they still together?
Yes, actually they are. And I saw them about 3 years ago, and we still laugh about the cake. And I think that was probably one of the first times really that we did that kind of novelty wedding cake. We'd done like the wedding tables in the past and that, but for something like that where people were thinking outside the box, that's when it kind of started.
Because when people come in and say, how much is a wedding cake? And you'll say X, and people think, oh, that's a lot because you can get one in Waitrose or you can get one in wherever. Yeah. And they don't understand. No. I mean, I see it, obviously, same sort of questions with flowers. They
exactly.
think it's not the same.
Yeah.
A wedding cake for an event. So how many hours do you put in your mind when somebody comes in and you think, I'm going to need that many hours to craft that cake?
Yeah, I mean, it does depend on the design. So, and I worked very quickly. I mean, all those years of it, now I work quick. But you look at the amount of work involved, and I can kind of judge, well, that's probably going to take me about 10 hours to do that part. If they're having handmade sugar flowers on, that can take you probably about 60 hours on and off because you'll be making the flowers over a week or so. So, it's all that. But then people forget that you've still got the baking to do with the cake. You've still then got to cover the cake and then decorate it before you make all the other decorations. So, that's where the prices come in. I mean, I do look at some people's pricing even now on wedding cakes and wonder where they get the prices from.
A bit rich.
A bit too rich for me. And I think I'm still on the side of the customer, because I sometimes do think at the end of the day it's a sponge cake that's covered.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then when you see some people charging 1,000, 1,500, and I just look at it and I think, gosh, I'd like to get that, but in my heart I couldn't charge that kind of price.
Well, I just did a wedding actually, and just before Christmas, and I didn't organise the wedding. The bride had organised the wedding cake, and she'd seen it in Instagram.
Oh, right. Okay.
As they do.
Mm-hmm. That old favourite.
And I'm not naming names because I just certainly would not do that.
No.
But it was an utter bloody shambles for £2,000. And the person, the cake maker, insisted on going and doing, and had to be doing this and had to be doing that. And it all transpired that the cake didn't even fit in the place where it had to go. So they couldn't display the cake in all its, it was just like, what on earth?
But then that's up to the cake person, because I always ask where the reception's going to be. And the thing is, you get to know all the venues. So I know certain venues in Cheshire where they've just put the cake on a table in the corner of the room and it doesn't look very exciting. So then I'll say, maybe you could do something on the table and make it more elaborate, because where they put the cake, it's not exciting and you're spending that kind of money. Or sometimes you'll look at people and they're ordering this little tiny cake, and I'll say, well, maybe we might put a bottom tier in that as a dummy, because the room you're going to is so big, people will come into the room,
look like a bloody
sit
cupcake.
down, and you won't even see the cake in the corner, and so that's up to the cake person also to know if it's got to fit in the room.
Because you're the one with the expert opinion, and obviously you've been around the block, as have I. We've seen it all before. Only just, obviously, but we've seen it all before, and it's up to us with the expert opinion to guide them, isn't it?
And and maybe the fact I've been in it 40 odd years, you do learn things. You do you do learn a lot. I mean, which hotels have got the gradient like that when you're delivering the cake. The ones in Manchester where you send your husband with the cake and forget it's just all cobbled as he's going along with the 4-tier cake. But you do learn those sort of things, that you take the cake now in sections rather than take it all set up.
So back in the day with wedding cakes, I'm thinking of like my mum used to talk to me about wedding cakes. It was like it was fruit cake. It was fruit cake, wasn't it? And then every tier meant something.
I mean, I can't remember all those. I know your top tier you always keep. You say you kept it for
Was that for the christening?
The christening. And these days we sell to people, just enjoy it the way it is now. Because when you come to the christenings, designs have changed now. But when I first started doing cake decorating, we only did royal icing. There was only fruit cake and only royal icing. So I worked for a firm where we had 14 designs in the shop. People came in, they picked that design. They spent an hour and a half picking the silk flower arrangement in the little plastic vase and go on the top. And we just did those designs, and life was so easy, because even being fruit cake, you could make those cakes a month beforehand, because they're fruit cake and royal iced. So it was very sort of easy going and nice. You could just sit there and pipe, and it was just lovely. You could just pipe your scrolls, and it was just lovely. And then they'd come and collect it. And for us these days now, everything's sponge cake, everything's triple tiered, double depth, triple depth cakes, which are just a nightmare in themselves. Even for transporting and setting up and that. So things were a lot easier.
I mean, I'm actually thinking of a wedding that I did years ago. It wasn't for a celebrity, but there was a lot of celebrities there, and the bride was insistent on arranging her own cake, which she did. I can see it like yesterday, this nightmare. And she wanted the cake in the centre of the room, and as much as we kept saying, it's just too many people walking past it, it's warm, it's unhygienic apart from anything else. Why don't we do this? No. She knew what she wanted, so it was in the should it's cost so much, I want it to be a feature. Okay, so that was in the middle of the room. And I can remember to this day, and I was stood almost like, obviously at the back, watching everything go on. They were doing the speeches, and then they were going to do the cake cutting. And I thought, did that cake just move? And I thought, please, and I'm on my own, I'm thinking, oh, did that cake just move? And I could see it like become like the Leaning Tower of Pisa because it hadn't been pinned. There's no structure.
No,
because
no
what
doubt.
most people wouldn't realise, you're very much scaffolded.
Oh
aren't
yeah,
you?
the whole cake, all cakes are scaffolded.
It's scaffolded. It's
Yeah, it
inside,
is.
so
Yeah.
no, of course you can't see it on the
No.
outside. But it's all holding it together, and there wasn't any, and it just slumped. And next minute, that was like 3 or 4 tiers. It just went into the bottom tier, and then fell off the table. At that moment in time, I thought, now everybody's going to think this is us.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And at that moment, I thought I should have really insisted, like, no. But I didn't, and that's what happened with the cake.
Yeah,
So I know that if you don't structure them properly,
Yeah, it always have to be dowelled, everything.
yeah. I mean, I know how creative you are,
Yeah.
because obviously you've done, I won't say hundreds of cakes, but it's up there, lots and lots and lots over the years. And of course, I'm creative, but you're very creative, because I'd never tell the expert what to do. And I know when I've come to you and said, I'm looking for A, B, C, you're like, right, we can do this, we can do that, da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's done. And we've even had place settings, haven't we, as gorgeous cookies.
Yeah, yeah.
Ice for the bride and groom, or a
Yeah.
little happy message.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so many things you can do,
Oh
can't
gosh,
you?
yeah.
So, but the funniest story I do remember, and it wasn't funny for you, but you did actually save my bacon. And that was, you will remember.
Go on.
And it was at that point you said, you're never taking a cake again, I'm always delivering them for you. Is it coming back to you?
Vaguely.
So it was a wedding I was doing in the Lake District.
Yeah.
And I think you'd said to me, come and get it between this time
Yeah.
and that time, so I'd gone.
Yeah.
And I then had my mum with me at that
Yeah,
point.
your lovely mum.
My lovely mum. So she wanted to go to the local garden centre, Parker's or whatever it was.
Yeah.
With the, she said, can we go and get a strawberry tart? Yeah, no problem. And then I was going to deposit her back at her house, and then I was going off up to the Lake District with said cake. So I've got it. It's in the back of my car. Gone and had the strawberry tart and a coffee. Got back to the car and I thought, what's that on the back seat? And the whole thing had collapsed in the heat, remember? Because I'd left it in the back of the hot car. Like we know not to do with animals. I did it with cakes, and you shouldn't do it with cakes or animals. And I couldn't believe it. And I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I remember, Elaine, help! She'd get back here.
Yeah. Don't show any stress.
I was like, oh my
Just keep it
word.
all very
I'm
calm.
so sorry. It's fine. I mean, I could see the eye roll.
Oh yeah, you might see a slight error, but do you know what? I always think if you've got time to get it done, even if it has to get to the venue within an hour, you've still got that time to do something. And do you know what I mean? People, it's not worth stressing about, because the more you stress, things go wrong. So it's not worth it. Just do it.
And you know the weddings that you'll have on at the moment. Are they going? What's the trend now for the wedding cakes?
Well, the trend these days, with my many years of expertise and training over the years, and that a lot of them now are just sponge cakes, just covered in buttercream with a few fresh flowers on.
Really?
Yeah, and I kind of feel sometimes gone as the days of all the skills I've learnt over the years. And now,
That's a
you know,
bit shame.
people, especially last year, it was the naked wedding cake.
Oh, was it?
you
What's
know.
that?
Well, the naked wedding cake is just basically...
You don't have to be naked.
No, heaven forbid. That'd be sad. But it's just like a cake that's just covered in buttercream, and then you go around with a scraper and you virtually scrape off the buttercream.
So even I could do that.
Well, yeah, even you could
Even
do that.
me.
Even you could
Yeah.
do that. And a lot of people do try to do it and then forget that they've still got to dowel it, and then just put a load of fresh flowers on instead of a naked wedding cake. And they're very nice. They're rustic. It's nice if you've got a TP wedding or
Yeah.
something like that. But I always think all the years we've trained and it's gone back to that. It's kind of stopped a bit this year now. We're into like what we call the Lambeth design, which is the very ornate frosted cakes with the big piping and the bows on, and that's called the Lambeth design.
Right.
But that's a design from when I started piping 40 odd years ago. So all those trends come back.
Yeah.
You know, so it's funny to see certain things come back and people think it's a wow, that's a great new idea and that. And I thought, yeah, I was teaching that 35 years ago, and
Gosh.
you know, and stuff like that. So, you know, that's the thing these days. Trends, they just change.
I'm amazed at the brides, well, couples wanting to do a cake like that, because I know it's a big part of the whole wedding breakfast. You know, the cake cutting, and it's it's a photo opportunity, and everyone stood by the cake. It's a big thing. So
I mean, like I say, it's nice.
Stood by Colin the bloody caterpillar. It's not the same, is it?
I mean, we did one of those last year. We did a Colin the caterpillar, the bride and groom one, but we did them 3 foot long.
Oh, I like the idea of
so
that.
they had, and then we went and got the proper little Colin the caterpillars and put them all around it. But we'd made 2 3 foot long Colin the caterpillars. So that's fun.
Yeah.
You know, that's a nice idea. But I just think the naked ones, a nice teepee, very rustic, it's great. But when you're going to some of the big fancy houses and they've just got the naked wedding cake, I think,
it's too insignificant, that.
Yeah, but everyone's got their own taste, haven't
I suppose
they?
it's
and everyone sees the photographs in the magazines, and that's what they're followed by.
Well,
you know.
Pinterest and Instagram, I mean, I talk about that quite extensively on the podcast because
Yeah.
people get really confused as to what that is. They're not always realising it's a photo shoot, and it's not what it's quite often it's not an actual wedding or a wedding cake.
Exactly. And you know, I'll say to some people when they come in, you do realise that is a fake cake. There's no way you could have those things coming off. So I said, and I'll say, we can do that as a dummy cake.
Yeah.
And you pay for that, and then you pay for the cutting cake behind the scenes. But that is not a cake, and you've got to explain that to people. And for us now as well, we've got AI, which is the vein of my life.
I bet.
So, you know, people are designing their cakes on AI, and they're bringing in these fabulous designs. I mean, don't get me wrong, but we physically cannot get them exact as that. And then we kind of make them sign now, just saying, I know this is an AI image. That is just for reference for us more than anything. But, you know, every day someone's sending me an AI design or something like that these days.
Somebody asked me the question, actually, and said, weddings seem to be dropping off. I thought, weddings are absolutely not dropping off. You know, people might be looking at the budget with a little bit more scrutiny.
Yeah.
And I was wondering whether that led to the naked cake, whether they thought, well, we're not going to pay X for whatever the cake is, so we can get a smaller version. It's not that important to us, and it's been a budget-led decision on the small cakes. But I do feel it's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. I mean, even with the naked cakes and that, we don't do them on a cheaper version, because for us it's even harder to do because we have to go and deliver them.
Yeah.
We then have to go and set them up, and we also have to take them kind of really chilled off to get them there so that we can handle them to get them together. And then,
is that because of me, Elaine?
Yeah, she said, I learned a lot from that. And then obviously we've got to take the fresh flowers and put all the fresh flowers on. For us, there's more work on the day than a lot of the other wedding cakes where basically we can bob it in the boot of the car and take it and, you know, and just take it. So they, in some ways, they're as expensive because it's more maintenance on that side on the delivery day. People forget that, you know.
Well, they don't factor that in. Again, it comes to the cost.
Yeah.
You know, they just think they're going to buy a cake off a shelf, and it's not that, the cost that goes into it. And especially because I know your cakes are gorgeous as well, because some cakes, they're not really, are they? They can be quite dry, or you know, they're not really got a nice consistency, or they taste that commercial cake taste.
You know
that you,
and that's what people have to remember as well. Go and get some cake samples off the cake people. I mean, we don't do a big hoo-ha thing like, oh, come and sit down and try all the cakes. We just give you a box, we do some samples up, go and try them at home with a cup of tea and just try it. You know, it's and it just gives you an idea what you like or not. But most people tend to know what they want these days and stuff. We very rarely do a fruit cake these days.
I think it's very good that you do the sampling. In fact, that is why we started to work together, because I came to you in Peterhead.
You did.
And I seen something. I kind of speak to the person that makes these cakes, and down you came.
Came out with a little room.
That's right. And you did, didn't you? Came from the back.
Came from behind.
And you gave me some samples to go and try, and I thought, I really like that. That's great customer service.
Yeah, but you have to do that, don't you? You know, it's just that people know what your cake tastes like. That's all. And if not, if they don't choose you, they've had a box of cake, could have had it with a cup of tea. You know, happy days.
Always happy with that. Always happy with the box of cake, goes without saying. I went to a really a great wedding, actually. It was a friend's wedding in the Lake District.
Lovely,
and their wedding cake was fabulous, right? It was quite tall. There was about 8 different, wasn't massive big depth to it, but there was about 8 different tiers. And she'd had printed that was put on everybody's plate as and when it time for cake. Like the bottom was sticky toffee, that was lemon something else. I thought, oh, I'd not seen that before. And I really liked the little cake hanger that showed the picture of the cake.
Oh, Oh, right.
and what was on each one. I thought,
Yeah, we
that's
do that
genius.
sometimes if someone's having a few different flavours.
Yeah.
We'll print something off and just
Yeah.
put, if they want us to do that. I mean, a lot of brides sort that out themselves, but
Yeah.
sometimes if people are having different flavours, we'll say, do you want us just to do a little thing up for you? That's
Yeah.
all, just that people know. But then it's going to be cut up anyway, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it'll all be placed out and stuff. But it's just a nice finishing touch, isn't it? It just makes it a little
thought
bit
so.
more
It's just
special.
nice detail.
Yeah,
And-
that's all.
And that particular couple, they didn't have desserts. It was the dessert.
Was it? Yeah.
And it was served like with bowls
Yeah.
of cream and all the rest.
Lovely,
That we used to do
yeah.
in the old days. It was really, really
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
Have you had any disasters that you can share?
Oh, God. Not many, to tell you the truth. I'm quite lucky. I am quite lucky on that regards. We had one where, oh gosh, I must have cut out about 2,000 miniature little tiny holly leaves for this cake. It was a 5-tier and it had garlands of miniature handmade sugar holly going round the sides. It was Christmas wedding, and yeah, it took a long time. They'd come and collected the cake the day before. Can't remember why. It was a few years ago now. And we got a phone call the next morning of the day of the wedding to say that the dog had got into the front room where the
Stop
cake
it.
was.
Stop.
And the dog had licked all the holly leaves off the bottom tier of the cake.
I'd have been out picking holly. Get that round it.
So anyway, obviously we always make spare, but we hadn't made that. So anyway, I then had to kind of get going with the holly, and the cake had to come back, and we literally got the cake back to the reception within about half an hour. But we did it for them. But what we did was we put those on the cake, but we had some extra spare, so we did a dummy. So the dummy was put on the bottom, and then the other cake was put away because the dog had licked it. So then we had to provide another cake as well for them, so that they had enough cake, and do it that way because the dog had licked it. And then I think a funny one.
Because that's not funny, is it? The holly story.
No, I know, but we all
It is
laughed.
now.
We all went, "Ooh."
It's funny now,
But
yeah.
a funny one was we did a croque and bouche, and if you did the croque and bouche, it's the pyramid of profiteroles.
I know all about the croque and
And of
bouche.
course, the croque and bouche is designed for the pastry chefs to make those on site in a hotel, but obviously they don't do those anymore. So we'd done this croque and bouche, and we had it in the back of the van and everything. And we were delivering. We were really careful and everything, because people think you have a magic wand when you deliver wedding cakes. They think you put them into this special capsule and we can just get them there. And for us, we basically put them in the boot of the car or a van and take them like anybody else. You know,
Yeah.
there's no secret. And when we got there and we opened the door, every profiterole was rolling around the back of the van.
Oh.
So.
Was it the 5-second rule?
Well, what it was, luckily, the croque and bouche was just a display. And what we'd only just decided recently was that the croque and bouche we'd only ever do as a display piece, and then all the profiteroles would be behind the scenes, so the
goodness.
caterers could just bowl them up
Yeah.
and stuff and do it that way. But then we had to go back and then spend like another 2 hours having to do the caramel and set it all up together again and so. But when you open the back of a door and you see 250 profiteroles all scattered around the back of the van, it's not your best Saturday morning.
No, a bit like when I saw the collapsed
Yeah.
cake in the back of my car.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
but you know, these things happen. Like you say,
Yeah.
people think you have a magic formula for transporting the cake, and you know, my husband lives on his nerves sometimes when I say, "Are you free on Saturday morning?"
What
You know,
for?
and he say, "Well, yeah," and then I'll say, "Oh, you know, it's like going to Pot Shrigley," and like, I don't know if you're Pot Shrigley, but Pot Shrigley have the drive with the gradient on the hill, and he just hates that one going up there with the bends and that. And I'll say, "No, it's an easy one this time. We're local or something."
Yeah.
But yeah, people don't just
I mean,
think we just can do it.
People don't realise.
But
the
we live in our
complexities.
nerves.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Has there ever been somebody that's come in and you've said, no, I can't do the cake?
No, we might change it
Yeah.
slightly, or I'll suggest something else, because for those people, that's what they want.
Yeah.
That's in their heart. You know, that's what they visualise they want their cake to be. You know, and I did the same with my wedding cake. I knew what I wanted, and obviously no one else wanted to touch it. So,
I wonder why.
Yeah, but you know, they've got that idea in their head. So maybe not in the way they think, but we can recommend in a different way that will look similar, but in a way that we can structurally do it. And also structurally do it in a way that it's not going to make the price even more extortionate, because you know, people come in with some fabulous ideas and I'll just say that's going to cost you
Yeah.
You know, and they think, oh, well, it's only a bit of that, and I'll say, well, no, that's quite a lot of work. So that's the price of the wedding cake. But if you want that to be incorporated, that could be, you know, X amount of money more. So I'll always just say that is going to cost a lot more.
Yeah.
But we can do it in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, and it'll still look fabulous.
Yeah.
But, you know, keep it down to what your budget is, and also how we can do it, and also if we can get it out the door. That's a lot for us.
3 deciding factors, yeah.
Yeah, for us it's getting it out the door. We're okay. If we can get the board out the door, we're happy. Yeah.
Well, it's always good to be transparent up front, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you're honest.
It's managing expectations, isn't it? Because like you say, they're seeing on AI and Pinterest and Instagram, TikTok, and they come in.
And I think that people appreciate that.
Yeah.
More so that you're honest with it.
Once they understand what's going into making that cake.
Yeah.
And even the delivering and everything.
And also, I don't want to have sleepless nights worrying about it and drinking a lot of gin. So, well, I don't need that excuse. But, you know, we can all have stressful nights thinking about, oh, I've got that cake to do. Or, you know, we had a cake the other week where the bride wanted French fancies. So she wanted 150 individual French fancies, but it was the hottest week of the year. Oh. So, you know, a French fancy is a poured fondant. So for us, pouring it out onto the fondant, it was actually setting as it was pouring out of the bowl. So rather than getting those lovely smooth looking, we got rustic ready ones for the first 25. So that's when you have to get up in the middle of the night or start work at 12 at night and then have to do them when it cools down.
See, people have no idea.
No, but you don't tell them any of that.
No.
At the end of the day, all they want to see is their finished product.
Yeah, can you do what they want?
Yeah, and you're not going to stress them out, but my God, they stress me out that hot week at the shop. But,
oh, God.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
definitely deliver dreams. I mean, I've worked with you for years and years, and lots of your clients do come back again and again.
Oh, yeah. And it's nice, and I have a lot of clients that recommend me as well, so, because then I wonder where they've come from and that, and people that really shouldn't know me or anything.
Yeah.
But like come along to me.
Well, I've sent loads.
I know you have as well, and then I have another sort of set of customers that send people as well, and you know, and that's nice. I don't ask where they're from or anything. I just get on with it and do the job and stuff, you know. But it's nice. It's a bit of fun.
Well, as usual, Elaine, it's always an absolute joy to see you. I know we've laughed and nearly cried over the years, but not quite.
No.
So why don't you tell everybody where you can be found? Are you on socials? I know this is going to be a trick question.
It's going to be a trick question for me now, yes. Obviously, I'm getting old in my age now, so techno's not my thing. Anyway, it's Elaine's Creative Cakes, and we're based down in Davehume, Urmston, Manchester. We have a large shop there, and it's Elaine's Creative Cakes on Facebook, and on Instagram I am Elaine's Cakes, I think, or Elaine Hamey, Hamey.
So people can find you.
Yeah, if you go onto Facebook, we're on there, Elaine Hamey or Elaine's Creative Cakes.
Fantastic.
We're always on there.
Well, us at the Wedding Editors are delighted you've been able to come in
today.
today.
It's been lovely, and good luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Elaine.
You're welcome.